There are several ways to deploy a web application. The easiest way is if you have a static website, you can deploy it to GitHub or Cloudflare pages, but you can't have a database. If you need database, you need to make sure that your application prepares the static pages that can be deployed onto these platforms. For data, you can also rely on JSON or Markdown files or maybe some sort of headless CMS. The next option is to build your application in the serverless format so you can deploy it to Cloudflare Workers or Lambda or maybe Vercel. In that case, you don't need to worry about scaling or deployments and so on. They do everything for you. And for databases, you can rely on some serverless databases like Supabase, Firebase, DynamoDB or PlanetScale. The next option is platform as a service. So platforms like Heroku, Railway, Render and so on. They handle everything from CI/CD to SSL to monitoring, scaling and logs for you. All you have to do is bring your app. And for databases, you can use things like PlanetScale, MongoDB Atlas and so on. If you want full control, you can get a VPS from Hetzner, Contabo, DigitalOcean, Linode, or maybe an EC2 server on AWS. In this case, you need to manage the deployment, server setup, scalability, and everything on your own. You can also self-host your database, or you can use some sort of managed database. The positive thing about this setup is it is cheaper and you get control over everything. The negative aspect is you have to do everything on your own. And finally, there is Kubernetes option, so you can have GKE, EKS, or AKS. So you need to learn about Kubernetes and Docker. And for databases, you can use any self-hosted or managed database services. This is mostly for large-scale applications which need resilience and auto-scaling. Personally, I recommend everyone to start with a static application if possible, and then go with the self-managed VPS. Having a self-managed VPS is simple, cheap, it gives you all the control, and it can be surprisingly powerful. So if you're a developer thinking about deploying your own applications, I would recommend you to get a cheap VPS and deploy your own application there instead of relying on serverless technologies or some managed solution. You'll get to learn about everything on your own, and later on, if you need to think about migration, you can do that easily.